One of the nice things about parables is that, in a certain sense, if one is to read them at all, engage in reading them at all, parables require interpretation. They quite literally can't mean what they say quite literally. And if you notice, in many traditions, the attempt to communicate through a parable is the attempt to communicate a truth that, as it were, could not possibly be communicated in another sort of more linear form without, as it were, the aid of a story. Nietzsche wants you to ask yourself this about your own life. What if it were the case that everything that has occurred would necessarily occur after a certain span of time again? There are tons of objects in our culture that promise us that we could go back and do things differently, or that we could go forward and fix things that are going to happen and so on. Nietzsche asks a horrifying question. Are you leading the kind of life that once it's complete, once you're dead, that you'd be willing to lead over again and over again and even over? My vices, you know, this isn't about going back and fixing that up. No, I love even my vices enough to want to repeat the performance that I did this time again and again and again. And in a way, it puts the burden upon the reader, the interpreter, as it were, to ask the question, well, could I love fate that much? That wherever it's put me and whatever it's put before me, I'd be willing to play this drama of self-creation that I've already either attempted or escaped from over and over again. Nietzsche, though, because in a certain sense we're all trying to create and recreate ourselves all the time. And also it's supposed to be a positive moment in Nietzsche. It is a positive challenge to engage consciously and self-reflectively in something you do anyway, which is in the constant act of rebuilding your persona, yourself. And it's not, in that sense, it does not belong to the dogmatic tradition of philosophy, because God knows what variety of selves would be created if people had the opportunity and the vision and the will and imagination to create themselves in this radically self-conscious way that Nietzsche challenges us to do in his myth of the eternal return.